Ohio. Welcome once again to the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton of Axum Planning and Wealth. I am Spike Spangle. Tim, how you doing this week and what is on your mind?
Well, we're going to talk about some common mistakes in retirement.
And hopefully how to avoid
retiree.
Them. You got it. And how to avoid them. And you know what? We have done different kinds of programs on this before, but every single year, the problems become different. On the other hand, some people continue to make the same mistakes. But if you're going to retirement for the first time, this is the first time you're making these mistakes. So some of these bear repeating. But I also want to do it in the backdrop of the new presidency, new cabinet, and see if there's any news or noise that we need to pay attention to as well.
And listen, the mistakes, we call them mistakes, and it sounds very judgy. We're not being judgy here. You're in great company. 31% of the country can pass the financial literacy test. All right, so everybody that you know is not coming up with the answers, just like you're not coming up with the answers. We're here to give you the right questions to ask, and more importantly, to give you solutions. It's not about what you should have done or what you could have done. It's about where are you today and where do you want to go to?
You're right, Tim. Mistake sounds like judgment. I'm going to rename the show right now. Retirement Oopsies. Yeah. And the things to avoid. We see this stuff all the time.
No judgies.
No judgies.
No judgies.
No judgment here. All we want to do is give you solutions. And through all of the examples of people coming into your office all of the time, we might be able to help you avoid some of these mistakes yourself. Or when the number comes up, you can just call the phone number and come on into the office.
That is the easier way.
It's the easier way.
Or you can use the QR code. We got a QR code now.
So, yes, you use the QR code, come to live events, keep listening to the radio show on WHIO, and more importantly, come on into the office. There it is. There's that phone number down there. Take that down right now while you're continuing to watch the show. Give us a call. Set up your own appointment. We'll explain exactly what will happen. One of the big things is withdrawing too much, or sometimes not even withdrawing and being too afraid to spend too much. I guess this one's mistake is about spending, huh?
Well, it's about balance is really what it comes down to. I mean, listen, we get to retirement and we look at how we make decisions. What are our biases and where did they come from? I mean, we had pension generations that did things a different way. We had Depression-era parents that taught us certain truths. World War II generation, the greatest generation of all time, told us to do things a certain way. We're bringing that to our own retirement, and some of those rules have changed. Life expectancy is one of the big ones. I mean, retirement is no longer a 10 or 15 year, or when Social Security started, a 0 year, right? The average life expectancy was 64. In 1935, when Roosevelt started Social Security. Today, a married couple, one of you is going to make it to 94. Simply put, we're living into our 90s. Retirement is 30 years plus today.
Here's a simple thing, and we know that any mathematical equation, if you want to get to the right result, it all starts with the inputs. Here's one of the inputs that's often missed. Say, I've got my Social Security, let's say you're getting $1,500 a month. You're looking at your expenditures, you say, well, then I can take this much out of my IRA or my 401k. Say, I'll take out $2,000 a month, it gives me $3,500 a month. But guess what? If you're taking that $2,000 out from a tax-deferred account, you don't actually have $2,000 in spendability. What are we explaining here to the viewers?
Well, taxes are a big miss a lot of times when we're doing retirement planning, because we think about, for example, and I'll just use large numbers because I can do the math easier in my head. If I have $1 million and I need $40,000 a year of income from it, that's a 4% withdrawal rate. Bill Bengen said that's okay. We've talked about that being bad math, but we're not going to get into it on this episode. Here's the thing. You don't get $40,000, right? You get $32,000, $33,000 because you lost a chunk to taxes. If you were counting on 40 and you ended up $8,000 short, what in your life do you have to change to now make up that difference? And that's the thing that we can get in front of that. You look at that, you look at inflation. Those are the things that can really start to erode your retirement in not a positive way.
Right. On the other side of it, you had also said, though, and it's kind of a mistake, is not spending enough, or not feeling you can spend that, or not being able to live that lifestyle, and just later on going, oh man, I wish I had done this. I wish we had done this together.
And I would love to say that it's as easy as us just giving people permission, because we have this conversation every day in the office of, what do you need to live on, or what would you like to have coming in? And the terminology, we could survive on this, we could get by on that, if we really tighten our belt. Listen, we don't want to tighten our belt in retirement. We didn't just work 30, 40 plus years to tighten our belt. We want to live a retirement of our dreams, and that starts with developing an income plan. We can build a plan to help support the lifestyle that you want, but it starts with sitting down with us. We don't know the answers because you don't often know the questions. We have to get to those answers together.
I don't know if I can say a number here, but let's say 40, 50, 60, 70% of the assets that we've accumulated are assets that we really didn't have much choice over. They were the ones that were in our work plans.
Right.
401k, 403b, TSP, government employee, federal worker, whatever it might be, and you didn't have choice. But you said another one of the issues for folks is having investments that don't actually match their goals. Well, if my goal is to accumulate assets, what am I missing? I mean, I've accumulated them, but now what do I do with them?
Well, now how do you get to them? How am I going to get them out? What does the tax look like on that? A lot of times we see good investments in and of themselves, but they're not a good investment for you. They're not the right investment for you and for your plan. We see people with the wrong investments in the wrong accounts that don't really have a purpose. It's a general statement, Spike, where they say, I have this money, we think it's enough, and we're going to take some out, and that's kind of their plan. And a lot of times we see people come into our office who have advisors that have told them that, you can do this or you can do that, or they haven't even asked the tough questions. Sure, you and your wife are going to be great, and as long as you guys live to 100 and pass away in bed together, you don't have any problems. But what if something happens to one of you? What if a pension goes away? What if Social Security goes down? Where is that extra income going to come from? And we get blank stares. Well, we never thought of that. Well, your advisor should have. I mean, you're paying them. If they're not coming up with those questions, if they're not asking you questions that are getting you to the right answers, that's a problem.
Right. We're going to continue to talk about some of the retirement planning mistakes. And honestly, it's a lot about blind spots. Oh, I changed the show name. Remember, call it Retirement Oopsies, because we don't want anybody to feel bad.
Yeah.
We see
no judges.
No judges, no judgment here. But another big one is inflation. We've put together a message on that, Tim, in particular. It's going to be coming up in a second here. But call the phone number right now on the bottom of the screen and get started on your own retirement blueprint. It is the process that Tim himself invented. Your investments, taxes, estate planning, healthcare choices, especially for deeper down in life, later in your retirement years, how and when to take your Social Security, all of this put together into your own retirement blueprint. Call the phone number right now so you can get into the schedule right away. It is no cost for you to come in and sit down with the team and get your retirement blueprint. Watch this further information that Tim has on inflation. Don't go anywhere.
The mistake that we see with a lot of people coming into our office is that they made a projection of how much money they were going to need maybe 20 years ago, and they didn't account for inflation in those figures. The average retiree is going to spend at least 20 years in retirement. That means that the cost of living is going to double at least one time. For example, if somebody 20 years ago said, I'm going to need $40,000 for my investments in retirement, that number is only worth $20,000 now. And so they actually needed to make sure they were looking for $80,000 if $40,000 net was their number back then. So as we're looking at the income needed in retirement, we have to have a plan in place that's going to double our income over that same period, or we're going to have to reduce our lifestyle, which is not what we worked all our lives for. Those are the types of things that we try and help clients with as they're planning out their future retirement to make sure that taxes and inflation are covered in those projections. If taxes and inflation are keeping you up at night, give us a call. Sit down, let us do a complimentary review with you and design your very own retirement blueprint. It's our trademark process that we've designed over the last 30 years to help you retire and stay retired. Did you know your retirement isn't entirely yours? That's right. Your 401k, IRA, or pension is actually shared with Uncle Sam. And when it's time to withdraw, he'll be waiting for his cut in the taxes. Want to know how much you will owe? Use our easy tax calculator to find out. You can scan the QR code or go to blueprinttaxbill.com.
Welcome back. In fact, Tim, in that commercial break, you hit on two different messages there, both inflation and taxes. And these are two of the inputs that you have to have. Now, inflation is a number that moves.
It does.
We can go back 3 or 4 years ago, it was 8.9%. That's what it was on the CPI, but there were places where inflation was 20% higher, 30% higher, 40% higher.
Well, we're aware of the egg strike, the chickens.
We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back. That's chicken strike again.
The chicken strike, yeah. I mean,
happening all over again.
Yeah, there's a shortage right now. Actually, at the grocery store, I was just there. There's a big sign that says, sorry, we're hoping to get caught up.
Yeah, and from what I understand, from what I read, is that the birds didn't take their flu shots this year.
So the bird flu.
Bird fluing going on.
Yes,
All right,
that's,
sorry. Dad
that's
jokes.
Horrible.
Dad jokes
horrible.
for everybody. But back to some serious news here. The inflation and taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes also change for us over time. It's the tax risk. So when you say be aware of it, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, how can they be aware of something that's going to change on them down the road?
And that is a great question, Spike. When you think about taxes and inflation, they move. There isn't any way for us to settle in and say, yep, it's always going to be this or never that. What we do know is longer term averages. And so when we're looking at inflation, historically speaking, it's been around 3%, which means that cost of living is going to double about every 20 years. When it comes to taxes, same thing. Taxes have been high, they've been low. What we're typically looking at from a planning standpoint is where are we today, and creating an income plan that can support our lifestyle. The growth part of our portfolio that's left over, that's how we mitigate the getting the number wrong with inflation or getting the number wrong with taxes and being able to survive some of those spikes that absolutely over a 30-year retirement are going to happen.
Right, and that's why you guys have put together this free tool. This is great, and it's important to know right now because one of the things you can control is when you pay your taxes.
Yes.
You can't control the rates.
Right.
But we know this. Tax rates are near historic lows right now. Reports that we talked about, in fact, on the radio show, is that this administration might actually keep the Trump tax cuts in. I don't know if that means for another year, 2, or throughout the rest of his administration for at least another 4 years. So this might give us another 4 years to act on tax mitigation strategies.
Right.
So the tax tool that you have, it's absolutely free. So if we can bring that up here, so we've got this tax tool, the Blueprint tax bill. You go, you put in some inputs in here, 2 or 3, your name, your email address, and what you have saved in your tax deferred accounts. And it's going to show you exactly what you're going to pay in taxes on those accounts right now, where taxes are low. But now imagine if those tax rates go up.
Right. Well, it's going to generate a free report that you can actually download that's going to be customized to whatever information you put in there. So make sure and put in the right information. But it's really easy to use. We developed this to help create an awareness. So many of us have done a great job. We did exactly what we were told to do. Save money in these pre-tax accounts, your 401k, 403b, 457 plans, TSP. And we've done that, but we don't understand the future tax impact of what we've done. This tool will allow you to kind of see in black and white what that looks like, and more importantly, what strategies we might be able to put in place to lower that tax bill over time, to allow you to keep more of what you've made, maybe even keep more of your Social Security as a result. And that is a big win, I think, for anybody that's looking at retirement.
And it's a free tool. You can use this literally right now. If you open up your phone to the camera function and point it at this QR code, you can click on it and it'll take you right over to the Blueprint tax bill. Few different inputs in there and you'll get that report. And then it's what you do with it. Now, if you go, no offense to the CPAs out there, but if you go to your CPA and go, what do you think of this report? they'll say, oh, well, you want to pay as little in taxes as possible. Don't worry about that. We're showing this to you.
Right.
So you can actually come up with a plan to do something actively about it right now. Don't just wait until you've got to pay your taxes in that first quarter of the year. Let's plan for the taxes later on, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now. And that's how you can use this free tool.
Well, you understand that the IRS is going to require you to take money out. It's called an RMD, or a required minimum distribution. So there is a tax plan in place for every American. And you get to decide, do I want the government's plan for me, or do I want my plan for me? I want to pay the least amount of taxes, not in 2025. I want to pay the least amount of taxes over my retirement lifetime. That is a different strategy, a different set of expertise. If you have a question about what your taxes might be, just go to this app. It's so great. BlueprintTaxBill.com. You can download your report, give us a call, and we will help show you the strategies that you will see on your report, how to actually implement those.
So do that right now while you're watching the program. I'm going to go on to one more retirement mistake, but we renamed the show to Retirement Oopsies. We don't want anybody feeling too badly. But you were saying making the wrong decisions. And making the wrong decisions on both Social Security, claiming pensions. Well, how do we know it's wrong when we're making it?
Right. It sounds like a conversation I'm having with the kids. I'm very disappointed in your choices. But those choices have consequences, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about here. When you look at Social Security, this is a lifetime choice that you're making with the equivalency of a $1 to $2 million pension. That is what the value would be to generate that income coming in from Social Security. You don't want to get that one wrong. 62, 67, are you still working? Age 70, I get, a higher payout at that time. How long does it have to last? Where, if I'm delaying my Social Security, am I going to get the money from to get me to age 70 when I want to claim it? All of those questions and more, the taxation of it, how it fits into Medicare, those questions and answers are all part of the Retirement Blueprint. And we want to come alongside you to help you with those answers. You don't have to do this on your own.
And again, not to make anybody feel bad, but how many times in your career have you heard somebody say, I never knew that, or I wish somebody told me that sooner?
Or I knew it, I didn't know it changed. That's the one that gets you. You go into things. I just had a call from a lady today. She calls me up. She said, Tim, I'm turning age 70. I remember you telling me I'm going to have to take money out of my IRA, and I want to get ready for that. And I'm like, well, good news. It just changed to 73. And stay tuned. Who knows? It might change to 74. Things change. Yep. And that's why there is importance to continuing to review, to have a plan.
Right. You can do your review right here. You can call that phone number right now and set up your own appointment with the team at no cost to you. Get started on your own tailored retirement blueprint at no cost to you. All you've got to do is call the phone number, set up your appointment. You can claim your strategy right now. If you want to, even easier, you can also use that QR code just like you did on the tax bill. So open up another page in your phone and then use this QR code, click on it. It'll take you over to his website. You can schedule an appointment right there. More of the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton right after this.
Social Security is easy, right? The question is, should I take it now or later? Well, there are dozens of ways that you can take Social Security if you're single, and hundreds if you're married. You've paid into the system for decades. Don't you want to make sure that you optimize your retirement income? Depending on how you've set up your other retirement accounts, your Social Security could either be tax-free or up to 85% taxable. It's not as simple as it might seem. So give us a call today. Let us uncomplicate Social Security for your retirement. Give us a call at 855-684-3485, or you can scan the QR code below to schedule your complimentary review. For every new person coming into our office, we are well aware that it's uncomfortable. And so we go out of our way to introduce them to the people that they're going to be interacting with. We have an estate planning attorney and a business planning attorney that come alongside people that are looking for those areas of expertise. Then of course we have a tax professional that is going to help optimize tax control, making sure we're taking the money out of the right accounts at the right time. A team of wealth advisors that do everything from the conservative area of investing all the way up to aggressive and everything in between, that have many years of experience of navigating tough markets. We say all the time that people bring us in a box of puzzle pieces. We ask them what that picture's supposed to be like, and then we put that puzzle together.
Welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show, our new segment here that we do closing out the show here. The financial news or noise.
Fact or fiction.
Bring it on, man.
All right.
This one we hear a lot. We really should pay off the house, pay off that mortgage before we go into retirement. But there's good debt, there's bad debt, and there's what you always talk about is having goals for your money. So let's talk about that last 4 or 5 years and people really being in a hurry, maybe even double loading into their mortgage.
Right.
Just to say, I've gotten rid of the mortgage and being debt free. Now, obviously, I know you won't have a mortgage payment, but there could be other opportunities you're missing out on.
Well, what is good debt? I mean, that's where we need to start, Spike. Listen, if you have a mortgage of 3%, 3.5%, and you're trying to pay that off early, first of all, understand how a mortgage works. If you're 15 years into your mortgage, you have already given the bank 85% of the interest you're going to give them. The rest of the money, that last 10, 12 years is almost all principal. And don't forget about the time value of money. That $2,000 mortgage payment you were making 20 years into your mortgage is only worth $1,000. You're completely ripping the bank off. Good for you. Am I in a hurry to stop ripping the bank off? I don't think so. I'm going to keep that thing going because I want to have good debt where I'm able to leverage that. If I pay that mortgage off, where's that money coming from? If I'm having to pull it out of an IRA, pay taxes on it, that is a major loss to go into an asset that, let's be frank, we're in Ohio. This isn't the coast. Our property values don't go up 10, 15% a year. They go up 2, 3, 4%. I want to get the most out of what I am working so hard to save. I don't want to limit myself or worse, make a decision that maybe derails where I could be if I just did something different.
And I understand what you're saying. It's not just making the most. You want to make the most out of what we have. Is that we want to make the most out of income that we have. And real estate, that doesn't mean that it's not a factor, that it's not inside your portfolios, that paying off the house isn't a great goal to have. We want you to do that. But will it create the income you need? How do we create the income? We always go back to that.
I've never had somebody that has their house paid off that complained about it.
Right.
All right? And so there's nothing wrong with that. And if that's something that's keeping you up at night, if it's not going to impact your plan and it's not going to create a big taxable event, it's not that we're saying don't do it. If that's your thing, that's fine. Let's just have the conversation before you do it. Make sure that everything else is in alignment. Because when we're looking at income, it's very important that we have an understanding of where that income is going to come from, what the taxes are going to be. And if perhaps not paying off or extra on the mortgage for 5 or 10 years can give us an extra $1,000, an extra $2,000 a month of income by not doing it, that is such a win because the mortgage is going to get paid off. Like it has a timestamp to it. Your income, let's maximize that to the best we can.
I think we're obviously a lot more impersonal about our 401ks and those investment tools. Those are money, those are dollars, but we're very, very personal and close with the home.
Yes.
The home that either we've paid off or that we grew our entire family in. But there is a school of thought that we should look at it as another one of the assets. I understand, maybe it's grown in value by 5, 6, 7, 8 times from what you bought it 30 or 40 years ago. Congratulations. But it can also be a tool that can help you be and stay retired, that can create income. But it's very hard because it's very personal to think about downsizing.
Well, we don't want to be emotionally attached to our assets. And this can show up in a lot of different ways. I've had clients who have passed away and they told their spouse basically on their deathbed, whatever you do, don't sell my stocks or don't sell my bonds or don't take the money out of the CDs or always do this. And it almost creates a guilt, even though that the person left behind may see the value and see the error of not doing that. It's an emotional thing. Same thing with our home. You know, we raised our families there. We remember our dogs running around in the backyard and the barbecues and the parties and all of that great stuff. But it's just a house. Those memories last forever. That house has nothing to do with those memories.
Yeah. And another thing about real estate, folks, is there are some people who build up a portfolio of real estate and they want to be able to live off the passive income on it. Now, here's the thing. Eventually, these houses are going to need upkeep. Somebody has to do it. Maybe you can't afford to have a worker go and do it, but a lot of times you're doing it yourself. You're trying to keep the cost low. Passive income. Can we create the same kind of passive income from our investments that things like rental properties can for us in retirement without as many headaches?
Without the headaches, and a lot of times we can create more income. You know, when we look at people who have built a beautiful portfolio of rentals, the first thing I want to know is, what is your net return? Not your gross return, which is what they normally give me. What do you end up with after taxes and expenses and vacancies and all of those things? Because a lot of times we see that number only being 4 or 5%. And there's easier ways to do it that cause no headaches, that you can go off on vacation and not worried about if a pipe's going to break in a rental property you have.
Yeah. So we can evaluate all of this, and definitely we understand you're close to your property, you've paid off the house, you've done a wonderful job, you love it, you're comfortable there, but realize it's one of the tools that you've been able to take care of to get you to your retirement. Now let's be realistic about all of it. And again, your retirement, it's not up to us, it's not up to Tim, it's not up to the team at Accent Planning and Wealth. We want to help you design the retirement that you want. So tell them very, very quickly, the blueprint, what are they getting at the phone call?
The retirement blueprint, by just coming in a meeting with us, we're going to build a customized plan for you that's going to look at income, taxes, estate plan. It's going to help you with Social Security and pension claiming strategies. And most importantly, it's going to be customized for you and for your family.
Thank you so much for watching today. We appreciate you as the audience. Now, make yourself actively part of the process. Call the phone number, get your free retirement blueprint started right now. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.